My wonderful, beautiful, amazing Taurus. I'm Gabriella from Gabriella's Vampire Tarot. For today, I'm going to be doing a general love reading of 5 card spread. But before I do that, I want to offer these 2 beautiful roses as a token of my love and appreciation for you all for supporting me. Thank you so much for joining me and subscribing. When you guys are amazing, wonderful humans, and I love your devotion towards my channel. So this 5 card love reading includes how the first card represents you, my goodness. Second, the other person. Third, the relationship. Fourth, the past. Fifth, the future. And then I'm going to draw a vampire oracle for you and then a favole. But let's get started with card number 1, which is you. Okay, the 8 of Cups. Yeah. I'm getting different senses here. I'm getting the ones who are single, the ones who could be ending a relationship and, kind of breaking up or having a divorce, or the ones who are, maybe changing course, maybe you're going to be finding, a different form of love. Okay, well, let's start off with the single ones. The thing is, it's like, I can understand how, it's like if you've experienced, nothing but negativity and stuff like that in your past, and you pretty much just think, well, I have no real interest in wanting to be with anybody right now. I want to just be able to enjoy the single life, the singlehood, whatever it might, it may be. 100% your prerogative in any way. It's like, this is your life, and if you just, choose to want to be alone, 100%, your entire right. You just shouldn't have to force yourself and to find love, or, to be in a situation where you just think, oh goodness, this is really something I did not want to be heading towards. Okay, well, for the ones who, could be ending a relationship, I'm so sorry if this could be potentially, resulting in some kind of divorce or breakup of some kind. It's like, maybe you're probably just exhausted beyond belief, from this individual that you just think, no, I just can't be with this person. But you could also be needing a break. Maybe you're just going through the courtship phase, maybe, whatever it may be, it's like, again, however, this card resonates, with you. The thing is, it's 100% your prerogative, 100% your right. If you just think, I need to have a break or something, I need to have alone time and me time and stuff like that, 100%, you're right, in many ways. So don't feel like, oh goodness, it's like, there's something wrong with me because I want to have alone time or something, right? And for the ones, it's like, who could be, changing course and stuff like that. Maybe, you could be finding, well, yeah, maybe a potential, new partner, whoever it may be. But it could also be, that you could also just, be finding alternative forms of love. So it's not like you just have to be with somebody, to actually feel, fulfilled, right? So, who's the other person? Ooh, the Lovers. Interesting. Could be a Gemini, well, Gemini and Taurus could be a wonderful, beautiful combination, like air and Earth. Yeah, what I kind of see here is, it's like, okay, well, the Lovers is also about love. But it's also about being at a crossroads and having, alternative, like, options and opportunities, will present it to you. So the thing is, it's like, what I mostly see here is, I think you're more or less, just heading off, towards alternatives and stuff like that. If you pretty much just think, well, I've already been down, the human courtship phase, or I've been, I just had a divorce or a breakup and stuff like that. Right now, I need to have me time, or I just want to try to find other forms of fulfillment, that pretty much, whether it's adopting a pet, purchasing a pet, whatever it may be, and maybe, that kind of gives you a bit more fulfillment of anything. But yeah, it's like, yeah, well, but for the ones who are in a relationship, it looks like, that, yeah, you could be, like ending a connection with a air sign. It doesn't per se have to be somebody, but it could also be somebody, who probably just kind of gave you mixed signals and stuff like that. But it could also, mean that, maybe you just need to take a break or something, or maybe you just think, okay, it's like, yeah, the divorce or breakup was inevitable. I just need to have a break from whoever this person was. It doesn't per se have to be a Gemini in any way. Relationship. Knight of Cups. Ooh. Yeah, okay, well, for the ones who are single, it looks like, pretty soon, you could be facing, the big question, of this big proposal, whatever it may be, or maybe a courtship invitation, whatever it may be. But the Knight of Cups is all about, well, being presented with this potential offer of whatever it may be. And, yeah, I think, it looks incredibly promising. It looks, like you're pretty much heading down this new road, this new, like area, that's pretty much going to be leading you towards whoever this person is. So I really hope all the best for my beloved Tauruses in the world, because, your planet is Venus, the planet of love. So, but for the ones who are in a relationship, or maybe, you're heading down towards a divorce, is that this could also be, the proposition, or, the the divorce, agreement and stuff like that, or the ending, or the ending of any kind of like marriage, relationship, contract, whatever it may be, because that's what the offering could also be, is to say, okay, here are the papers, let's just both sign them and be done with it. Past. 10 of Pentacles. Okay. Yeah, I'm kind of, definitely getting, a divorce breakup kind of situation, because in the past, everything just looked beautiful, just like, with any kind of, like, relationship, where you're pretty much, both, like, 10, 15, 20 years ago, you both met each other, you fell in love, and you lived in a very beautiful, happy home, happy hearth, happy family kind of situation, and, and then, as time went by, years went by and stuff like that, it just only have resulted in this situation where you pretty much just think, nope, I just can't be dealing with this person anymore. I tried everything, but I just feel like I just can't be dealing with this situation any longer. Well, I really hope all this, that it'll work out, well, for whoever is dealing with the divorce or breakup. For the ones who are single, it looks like that you were so incredibly confident, because that's what the 10 of Pentacles, the happy home, happy hearth, happy family card is all about. Is that you feel incredibly confident and strong within your own body, your own flesh, your own blood. Is, that you feel already, incredibly confident. And maybe, that's why, you're heading down towards, alternatives, to find, this new, person, whoever it may be, and you're going to be asked something. I can't say what exactly. I mean, it could be a marriage proposal, or it could just be, a courtship, situation, or, invitation to say, hey, do you want to go out with me and stuff like that. So, well, let's see what the future holds. King of Swords. Okay. Yeah, the thing is I'm mostly getting the single Tauruses. I mean, it could also be the ones who are going through a breakup or a divorce, heading out towards different locations, or we're finding, all other forms of love. But the King of Swords is about having this very good strategy, a really good plan. And the thing is, it's really good to, plan ahead, on how you're going to be, courting somebody, how you're going to be acting, any kind of prep work, any kind of rehearsals, any kind of, whatever it may be, is really good, so you can actually maybe, we'll deal with this situation, if you want to, if you want to have this proposition, we'll present it to you, it's like, it looks like that you're going to have a really good strategy on how you're, going to go about this whole, proposal, offering, whatever it may be. But it could also be if you are, in the midst of a divorce or breakup, that you have a really good strategy and stuff like that regarding this offering of breaking off the relationship between you and the other person, or, or just saying, how can I, ease the pain, just so, it's, I mean, any kind of breakup, I mean, unless it's pretty much a mutual agreement, of course, is always going to be painful no matter what, because you feel like you put a lot of time and effort into this connection and stuff like that, and you pretty much just think, oh goodness, I spent 5-10 years with this person, and so but it's like, yeah, I mean, you feel pretty much, like, somehow you just got hoodwinked, right? Because, the other person may have come across as somebody who you really, thought was a promising individual, and then suddenly you just see this other person about a week or a month later, and you just think, what did I just get myself into, right? So, but I do see you planning, regarding whatever it may be, so at least, that's a really good sign, right? Okay. Oracle. Rebellion, upstart, tumult, and revolution. Okay. Yeah, the thing is, I don't really sense any form of rebellion, but if you're kind of, breaking the status quo of actually, having a divorce or breakup, even though your friends and family might think, how could you, Taurus? It's like, this person looked incredibly promising. We already took family group pictures and blah, 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 whatever it may be. I mean, I don't really per se, sense that per se in this reading. However, I've come across hundreds of humans, that have expressed, such, little feelings and thoughts and stuff like that. Any kind of tumultuous situation or revolution, the thing is, yeah, I do see, some form of change, which is a really good revolution. It could be a bit tumultuous, but I don't really, think anything all too bad, because, any kind of revolution or tumultuous situation could be, the whole divorce or breakup situation, or it could even be like the upstart with, the potential proposal of this offering, whatever it may be, marriage, relationship, whatever it's gonna, or wherever it's gonna, guide you towards, of course. So, but that's what I see from, from the Oracle. Okay, what does Favole have? Let's give these a quick shuffle. Ah, Nine of Wands, Nine of Crosses. Okay. Yeah, you are exhausted beyond belief, but you're not giving up because you are a wonderful fixed sign, next to Aquarius, Leo, Leo and Scorpio. The thing is, it's like you are exhausted beyond belief, but you're not giving up, and nor should you, because, it's like relationships require hard work. Any kind of planning, any kind of strategy, any kind of anything requires so much hard work. And so, it's like, the most important thing or, advice that I would, want to give to anybody who's watching this video is always, will take good care of yourself, rest up, do whatever you have to do to just, kind of keep your energy going and make sure you don't face any potential burnout and stuff like that. Because that's kind of what the Nine of Wands is also about, is that you feel burned out about any kind of planning or any kind of situation, but you're just not giving up. So it's important just to rest up, eat well, sleep, we'll adapt to healthy habits and stuff like that, and then everything should just work out just fine. Okay. Well, for my beloved Tauruses, I'm going to have to leave it at this, but if this reading resonated, I almost want to say relationship, but if this reading resonated, please feel free to join, subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me and watching my channel. I love you guys incredibly. I really hope the best of whatever may come, from this whole reading, but thank you again for joining me. I love you guys incredibly. In a few days, I'm going to go back to general readings. So I'm going to go back and forth between general and love for now, but if anybody wants to have a personal reading, please feel free to reach out and subscribe to my channel. But anyway, thank you so much for all your love and devotion. I love you guys so very much.